What were some times when you died inside? Being 45 minutes into a 1-hour drive to a meeting to realize you left the main reason for the meeting at home. Man, I felt this. I drove nearly 1 hour through the rush hour traffic just to realize at my destination that I now have to do it all again : yay, let's waste 3 hours. I was on a school trip to a preschool and I had bad gas. I was chilling on the floor and this little girl jumped on my stomach and I ripped ass so hard. Something similar happened to me. Was holding in a huge fart while hanging out with this girl I liked in middle school and she jokingly punched me in the stomach. I ripped ass hard and was so embarrassed. I crochet and my old boss at work asked me for a scarf. He requested lilac, which I thought was odd, but he was super insistent and even sent me a color chart pointing out the exact shade he wanted. I bought the yarn and made him a scarf, but then ran into him and mentioned the scarf again and he started cracking up saying he was joking. Definitely embarrassing, but I'm glad I didn't actually bring it with me and give him the scarf only to find out he was being an asshole. I wound up giving it to another coworker who was watching the whole thing play out and she was super appreciative. God, what a massive jerk. Ha ha, yes, what a funny joke. I definitely love spending literal hours making things you don't actually want. Yeah, I definitely felt dumb since it took me around 3 hours. But luckily my friend loved it. Walked halfway across campus before a random dude let me know that I had a string of toilet paper hanging out of the back of my pants. There was poop. Just kill me. Straight shit myself in 2nd grade. I wasn't feeling good at all, but I was too embarrassed to ask to go to the bathroom and without any warning I audibly filled my pants with what felt like a gallon of diarrhea. We were sitting cross-legged on the floor for reading time and I quickly had shit up my back to my shoulder blades and down my pants to the knees. Of course I was sitting between two girls at the time who promptly screamed and crawled away as if I had burst into flames. Teacher's mouth dropped and I just weakly said I don't feel good. Everyone was staring at me with the most stomach-turned look of disgust. I would have rather eaten broken glass than be sitting there as I was. Teacher sent me to the nurse, me waddling, dripping liquid feces the whole way. Nurse was obviously extremely aggravated with me, which really felt good to a 7-year-old who already wished he was dead. All but threw a set of ancient loner clothes and a plastic bag at me, admonished me to make sure my mother washed them that night so I could return them in the morning. She angrily told me to go to the bathroom, clean myself up and put my shit-covered clothing in the bag and tie it up to take it home. I did the best I could, washing in a sink with the useless pink powder soap and shit dear brown paper towels that don't absorb at all, and changed into a pair of corduroy pants and a XXL button-down shirt used as an art smock, then was sent back to class. I still smelled poop, but I had no idea where it was coming from, and the teacher had me sit way off to the side for the rest of the day when the other kids complained. For the rest of that year I had no friends whatsoever and was known throughout school as the kid that shit himself during reading time. Luckily I changed schools the next year, so I left my shitty reputation behind me. That time I left school while chatting to friends and spotted my mum's car, got in said car and uttered the usual thanks for picking me up mum, only to realize that it was not in fact my mum's car, but a complete stranger and their family. I kinda sat there for a minute staring while my brain came to the decision that yes, this is indeed the wrong car, perhaps I should get out. The dad just said wrong car and I left and pretended that nobody saw my horrifying mistake. My girlfriend decided she liked my best friend more, broke up with me, tried to get with him, but he friend-zoned her right off the bat. It was sad for a long time, but now I think it's hilarious. Your best friend is a bro. Hell yeah, he is. It was pretty funny. She was texting him about wanting to get with him and he texted back and friend-zoned her. I was there. I was supposed to fill in for the coach of my son's soccer team this weekend, but plans changed. This morning I told my son I wouldn't be coaching his team on Saturday. He said, "Good." Dead inside. Anything but. He's 13 and parents are embarrassing. Yeah, I can see how it would really hurt to hear that, but don't beat yourself up over it. Almost every kid that age is embarrassed about the existence of their parents, but pretty much everyone grows it out of it, and it doesn't really say anything negative about your relationship with him. It's just young teens being young teens. When I was 17, depressed and was seriously considering ending my life, I wanted to know how my mother had died. She died when I was 2, so I never knew her. Before I decided on killing myself, I wanted to know how she had passed away. So one day in the car, just me and my dad, I asked my dad how she died. He didn't say anything for like a full-on minute, and I was nervous about his reaction, so when I finally looked at him there were tears running down his face. It was that moment I felt like a piece of crap for wanting to end my life. What made it worse was that when he finally gathered himself, he told me she had hung herself due to her BPD, borderline personality disorder. So I felt like an even bigger piece of crap. So just seeing how 15 years after she died, that was how he reacted when asked how she died, I knew I couldn't make him feel that way again. So I wasn't living for myself, but to stop him from going through that again. My first serious, real relationship, living with the girl and all that. She was basically a TA at the time and told me about this guy in her class that she thought I'd get along with. Well, he's just like you. I meet the guy and sure enough we were really alike. Then she calls me at work one day, says she's working on a paper and asks me some odd questions about STDs. Her questions were strange and I didn't understand why this paper was so urgent that she felt she needed to call me at work. I got home, looked through her phone and found where they'd been sleeping together. That hurt. Had a relationship similar when I was younger. We never got to have sex, but I did meet this guy in her class that was just like you, as she said. Found out through Facebook that she had started to date this guy later. She started crying when I justifiably broke up with her. Didn't really trust to get in a relationship for a few years. Met another girl. Started dating. Found out I was the second guy this time and ghosted her. Having to repeat a clever off-the-cuff joke because the person was focusing on their phone. Ouch. Don't repeat it. The manlisof doesn't deserve to hear your joke. Just say "should've been listening, dude," and laugh. 6th grade all-day field trip to SeaWorld Orlando. Surprise period through my white shorts. All the moms who wanted to help only had tampons. I was 11 and had no idea how to use them. There ensued an embarrassing crash course. I was devastated until random dad saved the day by giving me his windbreaker to tie around my waist and told me to go have fun. Thanks random field trip dad, you saved the day. What a great story of human kindness. Not all heroes wear capes. Windbreakers are twice as useful. When I was about 13, my dad took me aside one night and apologized for putting so much effort into supporting my twin brother and so little into supporting me. I always assumed he was just smarter/physically more gifted. Turns out he and my mother had actively and knowingly neglected me in order to encourage my brother's achievements. Happened all through my schooling. They paid thousands for his sporting trips, and when I had the same opportunities they just didn't have the money. Still kills me inside now. I'm a guy with a twin sister. My dad made it known that they expected me to do well on my own while they unabashedly supported my sister. Still killed me on our 16th birthday when she got a car in the driveway wrapped in a big bow and I got the weed whacker sitting next to it. When you're having a conversation with your friends and you keep getting talked over like you never said anything, and by the time someone does acknowledge you the subject has changed, so they all give you a weird look for being so behind, and it keeps happening and you realize that these people aren't really your friends, you're just kind of there. I think the moment you realize that no one gives a shit about what you're saying is the worst, and you kinda just sink into yourself and become all quiet because you can't be bothered in being in the conversation anymore. My family does this to me all the time. They just love to hear themselves speak, I guess. I told my husband that aside from holidays, I'm not doing any more family gatherings. On the bright side, Grandpa always has my back. If I get interrupted, he nudges me and says it's all right honey, I'm listening. Gramps knows what's up. Oh, and don't forget the follow-ups of why are you always so quiet? When I realized I lost my passion for writing and playing music and quit my bands. They both had success after I left. That was about 10 years ago. Trying to get my groove back now. I went to an interview once where one of the two people interviewing me asked if I knew French. I said I knew core French, so they decided to conduct the interview completely in French. I can understand when someone speaks French to me. I can read and write fluently in French, but I can't for the life of me speak French. It was so bad that one of the interviewers got up and left halfway through and didn't come back. Needless to say, I didn't get the job. Interviewing a potential student who is interested in my school, he has a huge green circle around his eye. Wow, quite a black eye. What did you do? I was born like this. Oh wow, I did this once at my job when I was in high school. I worked with this guy for 3 years, and one day he had this huge cut all the way up his arm. I asked him what happened and he looked down and awkwardly told me he had psoriasis and was having a flare-up. All I could say was no way, so does Kim Kardashian, you could be famous. Made almost 0 sense and I felt so bad. He was cool about it though. I'm sure the kid wasn't too upset, he knows what's up.